Using ramps is the easiest way to go around this oil change. With the vehicle on ramps, begin by removing this 14 millimeter oil drain plug right here. Drain pan set and ready. While the oil is draining, the oil filter is right above the drain plug. Normally you should be able to remove these by hand. If you take it in to get an oil change, sometimes they'll over tighten these or they won't put any oil on the seal, and sometimes it's impossible to remove it by hand. If so, there is a handy tool that can help for this. This tool right here, it's an oil filter wrench. As you loosen something leftwise, this gear in there turns this the opposite way, so it tightens itself as you loosen. This thing expands, so it covers basically almost every screw-on type of filter. I picked this one up over at O'Reilly's. They also sell them on any Matco truck as well as AutoZone. I believe AutoZone carries these in stock. This is a Wix part number 51358XP. Apply a small film of oil around the oil filter seal. These things should only be hand tightened, and then a 3/4 spin or so. You should be able to remove these by hand the next oil change. Pour a small amount of oil inside the filter. This will help for when you cold start it, it'll get some oil up in the valve train as soon as possible. This will prevent any dry engine start. Once you feel like you can't really turn it on more by hand, grab it, give it one turn, 2, and 3. Before you reinstall the new oil drain plug and gasket, make sure to use a bit of motor oil. I like to pour some of this in, just a small amount. That'll just help flush out any of the old oil in there. Highly recommend doing this, especially if you care about your engine. You want to get all that dirty oil out of there. Clean oil went in, slightly dirty oil is coming out. But it's a new gasket on the oil drain plug. Always use a new gasket on these, never reuse the old one. This will ensure there is no leak. Last thing you want to do is have to do this all over. Remember to always start these by hand. This will prevent you from stripping any threads. You don't want to strip this oil pan. Once you get it started and by hand and tighten down, then you can go ahead and use your ratchet and tool to continue tightening this down. This engine uses 5W30. I will be using a high mileage full synthetic oil. And nice thing about this engine is it fills up with exactly 5 quarts. So all you have to do is pour in a whole jug and you should be golden. After you fill it up with oil, inspect the bottom just to make sure you have no leaks. Ensure there is no dripping occurring at the drain plug or at the filter. Next, start the vehicle and roll it off the ramps. Only let it run for a few seconds. Wipe the dipstick using a towel before you place it back in there. Wipe it and clean it nicely in order to not have any false reading from oil lifting with the dipstick. As you can see, very hard to tell on here. It's right at the 3/4 mark after the 5-quart full jug, which is perfect. I highly recommend to replace the oil after 5,000 miles. I know the containers say they can last a lot longer than that, but 5,000 miles has always been the rule in every shop I've worked at, all the master techs I've spoken to. Everyone recommends 5,000 miles for full synthetic oil, especially if you care about your engine. I picked up this printer off eBay. I use this to print out my oil change tags. As so, makes it really slick, and I like not having a tag up on my face whenever I drive. If you don't want to buy one of these or have one of these, you could also get free oil change tags over at O'Reilly's or AutoZone. They have them on their oil section and they give them out for free. There we go. Nice and slick. Looks like we're all finished. So you know what that means? It's time to go drifting.